We stay afloat by remote control. Yeah, my Father, I need a song to touch the conscience, to heal my nation, bring the bell against rape and violence.
Song of inspiration,
To be some food to the hungry,
children of the ghetto,
to calm the mood of the angry,
today and tomorrow.
to speak to the fallen,
Oh yeah,
lost and trampled down,
oh yeah,
to force them out open and give each a tongue, to loosen every shackle, a beat to make feet dance, to give every former slave a chance. I need a song I'm praying, Father. Papa, give me a song. Jehovah Jireh, Jehovah Rapha.
you are my song.
I'm praying, Father. Papa,
Give me a song.
Jehovah Jireh, Jehovah Rapha. You are my song. 'Cause a day is coming soon when the tide led by the moon shall rush upon the sand, wash land away. When the lion and the lamb shall greet the great I am, prove man is nothing more than mud, than clay. Scientists claim days are getting warmer. The phenomenon known as climate change. But Kim and Trump threatening nuclear trauma. The map of the world they wanna rearrange. In the Atlantic Ocean, cyclones stir and churn. Tragic devastation make our neighbors mourn, while the bear and eagle wrestle in the dust. We see a president that none can trust. Heavenly Father, I need a song to face this crisis,
To save the nation,
to run out all that clung and racist,
song of inspiration,
to bring strength to all the helpless,
children of the ghetto,
to be the eyes of the sightless, today and tomorrow, for those who don't have plenty, a song to make them strong, all who barely empty, to help them hold on, in this time of anguish, in these days of pain, to help make country ease and breathe again. I need a song I'm praying, Father. Papa,
give me a song.
Jehovah Jireh, Jehovah Rapha. You are my song I'm praying, Father. Papa,
Give me a song.
Jehovah Jireh, Jehovah Rapha. For those who sick and down with cancer,
I need a
so
song.
let them know God is the answer.
You are my
For
song.
single mothers beaten, broken, it's not over till God has spoken. For that youth facing deep depression,
I need a song.
can't find a walk in this recession.
You are my song.
For that man by one thread hanging,
Give me a
so
song.
he'll know hope and help is coming. I'm crying, Father, Papa,
You are my song.
Jehovah Jireh, Jehovah Rapha.
My rock, my
I
song.
thank you, Father.
in the dark to let the lips speak. Liquid supplement for them bird with a twisted and a chip beak. Hey, hey, find the water side. Hey, hey, when every time I show up, everything blow up, everything blow up. All on the rock and the flag them go up. Everything blow up, everything blow up. When we are right, bad minds start show up. Everything blow up, everything blow up. All on the rocks and the flag them go up. Everything blow up, everything blow up. All on the rock and the flag them. Boom. I define the hot, just like the clips just define the blood. Like how the wind scream define the bugs. Like how the tall bush define the mud, yeah. Them test up me flow, so me do like tornado. And I rectify the clock. Wet me and put me in electric chair, but all they did was electrify the plugs. Watch me, them go hard, we go harder. I found for the sound to Luke Skywalker. There's no one in this business that one like them are my father. Hey, why move with your red eye? Lightsaber is the Viking Jedi. Drive over them like a semi. Hey, 20,000 correct against we like zombies on Tuesday morning. They can't stop the garden. They can't stop the garden, Lord. My name is Persistent and you just stop hurricane from forming. They can't stop the garden. All the world in time I tell them wow. Hey, man, like that the fire and burn. Like that the fire and burn. Hey, give me a vintage. Like that the fire and burn. Like that the fire and burn. When every time I show up, everything blow up, everything blow up. All on the rock and the flag them go up. Everything blow up, everything blow up. When we are right, bad minds start show up. Everything blow up, everything blow up. All on the rock and the flag them go up. Everything blow up, everything blow up. All on the rock and the flag them. Welcome to vintage darling. No game I don't beat a English darling. I don't suffer from shrinkage darling. Clean to the skin, there's no English darling. Suit a black, not a pinkish darling. No iceberg and a sinkish darling. It's the promoter when I feel Viking. Plus them in a broken English darling. Watch them, hold them on a front end. Boy, we make you bleed like another man 10 boy. Enemies could have never jump and boy. Climb the chart, they do another top 10 boy. I'm not in my business. I don't really care no business. We destroy the whole of them business.
Current affairs.
Oh, what?
That's it. That's it.
Welcome, one and all. I am Juliet, alongside my sidekick, Mr. Arouca.
Your partner in crime, Juliet.
And we are going to be live on NCBN on a social media platform near you. IG, Facebook, YouTube. We are going to be
Sensational,
tantalizing,
thought-provoking,
dramatic,
educational,
real,
sometimes spiritual,
suspense,
political analysis.
drama.
Take no prisoners, Juliet. Don't forget that part. Coming soon.
20,000 can rise against we like zombies on Tuesday morning. They can't stop the garden.
Any closer?
Good evening, greetings once again, and welcome to Juju Love and Mr. Arouca, the heartbeat of talk. Live on NCBN television, streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Pleasant good night to each and everyone. Thanks for joining us once again for yet another segment of Juju Love and Mr. Arouca. Good night, Mr. Arouca.
Good night, Juliet. Good night, everyone, and good to be here.
That's it?
Yep.
Can you sing a little more? A bit?
Good to be here. Good to
Good
be
to
here.
be here. Good night, everyone. Welcome.
Great to be here, Juliet.
Great
Love
to
it.
be
Yeah.
here. Okay.
Good to be here.
Let's get ready to rumble. Where's my drum roll?
Drum roll. That's it, Juliet. That's it.
Thank you very much. Okay. Don't forget to share the live. And don't forget as well that we have a call-in segment sometime later on in the show. Tonight we are going to be discussing campaign finance reform. And so I am going to put the ball over in Mr. Arouca's court to lead the charge where that is concerned.
Juliet, we over the weekend we recognized that Watson Duke has launched his party.
How do you go to call a man a doctor, boy? What the son doctor tell boy? Hey, boy.
Watson Duke has launched his party. And to my mind, he seems to be spending a lot of money. And everybody's asking, where is Watson Duke getting his money from? His campaign in Tobago was big, but this one was even bigger. So the question on the ground is, if we allow Mr. Duke in particular, because we evidence from the Tobago House of Assembly election, he is a dishonest player. He went around spending money, giving people, well, that's what we hear, that he was giving people money and thing to buy rum. You don't need normal Pecom thing in Trinidad and
if you
Tobago
give somebody,
politics.
okay, so if you give somebody money to buy rum, that makes you dishonest?
No.
Well, I just want to understand.
No, it's making dishonest. No, it didn't make it dishonest.
Okay.
His dishonesty came from one of his supporters calling themselves a true Spartan. That is where his dishonesty comes from. She's calling herself a true Spartan, and she was describing to me.
Okay, let us don't jump. Stick up and let us don't jump the gun as yet. You started off the conversation. You started off the conversation by talking about Mr. Duke over the weekend, which was Sunday, at the launch at the Hyatt.
Yeah.
Right. And you have concerns about where the finance is coming from, because
where is it coming from?
Because one, and that is where I was hoping you would have gone when you said dishonest.
Yeah.
So for one, the venue is a red flag. For two, he announced that it would be a 3-course meal, and that he asked people, invite people to come to have a good, I think he said it was a red carpet event. And you know when it's a red carpet event, what that means. So that was two other red flags there as well. But even prior to the launch on last Sunday, Mr. Duke have visited about five communities, moving around, distributing jerseys, and it is understood from on the ground that money was also $300 to that effect was also in the jerseys.
We saw somebody,
Right now, what is important to mention, because you see, we don't just want to say things and sound like we just feel to say things.
Yes.
So what is important to mention as well, the persons who would be walking with Mr. Duke, most of them, right? Like for instance, Anderson Wilson. I think in his first walk, Anderson Wilson was seen walking with him. Anyway, most of the persons, the young men that you would see walking with Mr. Duke could not wave a magic wand and get those guys to walk with him.
Your opinion?
That is not my opinion, that is facts.
Okay.
Those are facts. Mr. Duke cannot get those young men to walk with him.
Especially Anderson?
Right. So it would mean, well, Anderson is a story by himself. Anderson will walk for free. Anyway, so it would mean that he would have had to go to the leaders in the community. And the leaders in the community is not going to sanction any of their soldiers to go and walk with you unless money is involved. So I just want to put that on the table. So all of those are red flags, and which has brought us to where we are tonight, discussing campaign finance reform. So
I was specifically talking about the lady in the video saying that you shouldn't, instead of coming in the community and giving people money to buy rum, they should be on the ground trying to get the young people
Right,
and
so
them
there's
jobs.
a video to that effect.
Yes, there's a role. There's a woman calling herself the True Spot. And saying
Oh, that is Eva McCall.
You know she name?
I just keep them thing in my mind.
Juliet. Well, let me tell you.
Eva McCall.
Based on that woman's statement, I think that we need campaign finance reform much faster than the government promised, because the government did promise that before local government election we should see campaign finance reform and local government reform on the table. As a matter of fact, it is before a joint select committee as we speak.
Yes.
I know for a fact that local government is before a joint select, and I am not too sure where.
Go right
I'm not
ahead
too
now.
sure where.
Folks, I'll fill you in on the joke a little later. Go right
I'm
ahead.
not too sure where campaign finance reform is, but with the kind of money spending, I think that it would do us a whole lot of good to start the process, because under the representation of the...
It will do us a whole lot of good, and again we have to go back to Watson Juke. Sorry for butting in like that.
Right, no problem.
We have to go back to Watson Juke. The THA election, Mr. Arouca. For the THA election, the launch was at the Magdalena Grand, and that would have been the election in January, right? My mic is okay? Right. That would have been the election in January when they had the 6-6.
Yes.
Right. News.
There's 2 elections back to back in a year, which
Right.
Mr. Juke campaign.
Right.
And it was
very good point.
Yes,
Very good point as well.
A lot of money was
A lot
spent,
of money was spent.
And a lot of money was promised, $10,000 if I win. And well, we know that was coming out of the
Construction was
Watson
going
Juke
on.
was building roof and drain and all that kind of thing.
Right. So let me go back now. Let me go back to January. When
Now,
Mr. Juke,
before you go, if we don't put a stop to this, we are going to further corrupt the system. General election is about the will of the people.
That's
It's
correct.
an expression of the will of. You know, better we forget it. If we allow Watson Juke to go ahead and take money and build people roof and build a drain and all, and give them $100 in Jersey and $500 and problem them, let me forget the election process.
Yes.
And let all of we take up arms
yes.
against one another.
Or money.
Well, because it's not making no sense.
Yeah.
The election must be about the will of the people, and Watson Juke is corrupting the will of the people, and we can't turn a blind eye.
No,
and
we can't.
sit down and watch
that
it,
is the clear and present danger.
This does lead to murders every day.
This is the clear and present danger that we continue to tell them about every
What we are
night.
experiencing here is the will of Watson Juke, and not the will of the people, because when he corruptly usurps himself into an election, it's not the will of the people.
But not only usurp himself, usurp himself into an election, but the means, the avenues, some of the avenues, like what I just described, going to the local gang leaders.
Yeah.
Right, because what comes out of that after is what we describe with the life sport and in Roberts and murder and what have you.
There is no good to come out of this.
There's nothing good to come out of it.
I watch
and
Mr. Juke.
I'm amazed that we're not having this discourse with the intellectuals through the media.
Not only that, Juliet. This requires immediate attention.
It does.
Mr. Juke corrupted the Tobago House of Assembly, and we will show you.
We will show you. We will
show you later how he corrupted and how he actually did it. We have the evidence. We have the proof tonight. You know how Watson Juke corrupted the Tobago House of Assembly election, and he's using the same blueprint to try to corrupt but the difference with the Trinidad election is that we have a form of proportional representation in the local government election, which did not exist in the Tobago House of Assembly election.
Okay.
But the results is the same.
Yes.
We cannot have Watson Juke showing all signs of going a particular direction without putting an immediate halt to it, because we will not get.
But we try to explain that to the people for the THA elections. But so let me go back to what I was saying about January. You would recall that Mr. Juke stated that he was going to resign from the PSC. You recall that, right?
Yes, Juliet.
Right. we later learned through PSA members who was putting up a struggle against Mr. Duke. I think Anderson and Preston and Jenny and those people, I think Wendell Eversley as well. We learned from them that what Mr. Duke did was really outsmart the people because he wanted to come by his pension, right? Which he didn't even qualify for. He wanted to come by his pension, some $500,000, which Duke had denied that he took to fight the election, but later under pressure, he admitted, and it's on record, that the $500,000 was spent to launch the campaign at the Magnadina.
I don't believe that at all.
But whether you believe it or not,
I don't
that
believe
is what he said. But the point why I mentioned this, hold a second, keep your thought. Why I mentioned this is because I saw tonight on my way here where a post was put up by Wendell Eversley. Now, you would recall that in the THA election, and as I just mentioned, the money, Duke said that the money, the $500,000, was used in the January launch of the PDP. And Wendell's post tonight, he has put out a statement asking whether the PSA could confirm if PSA was responsible for funding the event last Sunday for the PDP.
That's the Trinidad Lounge.
That is the Trinidad Lounge at the Hyatt Hotel. So it is alleged that PSA paid for the event.
Right, okay.
Very, very, very troubling.
Very troubling. Juliet, the election, the representation of the People's Act gives candidate a maximum for campaigning.
Yes.
If Mr. Duke did indeed say that, he has breached the law. He has breached the representation of the People's Act because there is a threshold. I'm not too sure of the figure. I think it's about $50,000.
Yeah.
And it is now, and Section 82 of the Act of the representation speaks of if you make a false entry, if you make a false declaration,
yes,
it is a more serious offense.
Yes.
This is leading, and you know what is egregious about this? These things happen in
like
full
word,
day. Egregious.
Yeah, you love that word too bad.
Yes.
It's about 10 times they use that
yes,
word.
It's egregious, it's vexing, it's troublesome to the spirit. If it is that persons whose job it is, like the elections and boundary, should be on not only on Mr. Duke, but all politicians who make statements.
Kamla Prasad Bissessa, Monday Night Forum, have nothing to say about this?
Yeah.
Kamla Prasad Bissessa and the UNC Monday Night Forum have nothing to say about this?
No, but we have evidence of why they don't. Because Krishna Lala, one of them characters, I ain't too familiar with all the Banatis, you know. All I know is a whole Banatis, and all of them carrying Lala name and Maharaj name, and you name it. And once you say that, you say big old thief. Give Jack $40 million. Now that is a clear breach of the represent. Listen, if we as a people want to go down this direction all the time, we can go ahead. But when you try killing one another in the street, in fight, don't say nothing, because this is related.
But not only that, I'm happy that you raised that point. Because before I came here, my mother was watching the crime program.
What crime program?
The one with the strong black guy, not Ian Allen. Not Ian Allen.
Yeah,
Alexander.
That clown, yeah.
And they were discussing the school violence, and I think they showed a video. And they said this time it was a video with young girls fighting, no boys, just girls fighting, right? And one of the things my mother said, well, this school violence thing now, this doesn't appear to be anything that's happening ad hoc
No,
it
stage.
appears not just stage, but she's lightening it now. That is gangs coming out of the schools. That gangs are coming out of the schools, and Alexander said something to that effect as well. But where I'm really going with this is based on what you said. Now, given the money that is being thrown into the community and thrown into the community and the elements that are receiving the money and disbursing the money, what we are creating coming out of Watson Duke and the PDP is a kind of dudoscope or something. Right. So what we can be seeing emerging is a political party that is actually a criminal gang. I kind of have not necessarily a criminal gang, but has that flavor, has a flavor and an outlook, an image of a criminal. This could never be good.
It could never be good.
Particularly for the African community. And I would like to hear what David Mohammed and them have to say. Because David Mohammed and they have to be honest, and they have to call a spade. Because the level of crime, the level of school violence coming out of our young children, we have to put it at the feet of where it belongs. Because David Mohammed and they quick to point out the PNM and say, oh, it's because the PNM didn't get them this, and the PNM didn't get them that, and the PNM didn't do this, and the PNM didn't do that. But right before David Mohammed's face, someone who is a black brother, a pan-Africanist, a conscious black advocate, a PhD, conscious black activist. This what is developing here is very troublesome, and I would like to hear what David Mohammed has to say about this. And then is when we go see all who love Trinidad and Tobago, all who are patriotics, and all who love African people in this country.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Because Juliet, you know the spread, the throw your corn philosophy. That when you take corrupt money, drug money, money that was illegally gotten, and throw it in certain communities. This is the effect. We must be very, very careful. We are funding criminality, paying cash,
and it has now entered the realm of it has now entered the realm of our democratic process. And it's not like if it wasn't there, but it was in a subtle form. This is real trouble. But we don't want you to take our word for it. So we want to go to Granny Ava McCall and listen to what Granny Ava McCall said in that video, because sometimes you have to listen to something, listen to it, and in listening to it 4 times, we were able to discern that Granny said something very indictable in that live that we need to play so that the powers that be will understand what's going on in this country. And I'm speaking about the EBC, the government.
The EBC in particular. So
don't forget to share the live.
We're going to the
video.
I have a situation, and I have been walking from door to door, up to down, in and out, and you can't even get to see them. Most of the time when I go there, I put them the other day. They're in a meeting. You're calling their phone and not answering it. What Sister Bernie said, it's not no lie. What Mother Bernie said, it's not no lie. I said I was going to talk about it, but I need to talk about it. They're overdoing the stuff in this now. They're overdoing the stuff in this now. I tell you the truth. I know that they have work to do and they have things to do. But let me tell you something, a little courtesy, and don't have people feeling as though, oh gosh, why? What's your man and me? Because before time, my dear people, before time, these people know your number, you know. They knew your number, and they used to be happy to talk. And let me tell you, I cannot even walk the streets at Scarborough Road because somebody always coming up to me and congratulating me and telling me thanks for the stands that I took and for the stand that I made and for the standing up. and for standing up with these young people, but they of themselves doesn't want to say thanks. Some of them very ungrateful. For instance, I voted in West. I'm gonna tell all who I vote for. You understand me? I voted in West. I used to live in Roxborough. For who knows to me, I used to live in Roxborough, what place in the East. Yes, I used to live in the area that I voted. I used to vote. I used to live down there. And I was asked and I was begged to change my voting area from Roxborough to the area. And I did that because Roxborough is a strong area. You understand me? And every vote you could get down on the West, you do it. And I did that. And I make it my business. And I get up election morning and I carry my father and mother to vote first up in Roxborough. And make sure I get them 2 old people to vote first. Because my mother was rebelling days in a row, months in a row, she's not voting.
So
You heard that?
We know how Watson Duke did it now.
You heard what that lady said?
Watson Duke stole the Tobago House of Assembly election
But it is
by
fair.
encouraging these people who from Roxborough were done strong already, to get them to go and vote in constituencies that they are not
But the
supposed
woman
to be
said
voting
it.
in. No, this takes planning.
The woman said it.
In order to escape the detection of the EBC, who has a rule that you cannot vote in an area unless you are domiciled for 2 years.
Yeah.
For you to escape that,
Yes.
you would have to plan that before. So let her go and register down there.
Yeah.
But she live in so. And not only that, the EBC that do due diligence, let us come and check
And make sure that you live in there.
and make sure. So the EBC right now.
So was there collusion with the EBC?
Listen,
was
Juliet,
there collusion with the
listen.
EBC?
No. Let me tell you, right? This election should go nowhere until they clear up this matter here. The election of who is the chairman of the EBC?
I think Ram Kerry Singh. I think Mr. Ram Kerry Singh, yes.
So Ram Kerry Singh don't have people scouring the internet to see what they see or hear what they say. Well, now it's full, it's open, it's out there, it's in the open.
But
we discovered it,
right?
And now all he has to do is to do his due diligence and check to see if what she's saying is indeed a fact.
Play back that video again. Let people hear what that
What the
woman
lady
said.
said she did, what she was begged to do.
I have a situation and I have been walking from door to door, up to down, in and out, and you can't even get to see them. Most of the time when I go to the office, they're in a meeting. You're calling their phone and not answering it. What Sister Bernie said is not no lie. What Mother Bernie said is not no lie. I said I was going to talk about it, but I need to talk about it. They're overdoing the stuff in this now. They're overdoing the stuff in this now. I tell you the truth. I know that they have work to do and they have things to do. But let me tell you something, a little courtesy, and don't have people feeling as though, oh gosh, why? What's your man and me? Because before time, my dear people, before time, these people know your number, They knew your number, and they used to be happy to talk. And let me tell you, I cannot even walk the streets at Scarborough Road. Because somebody always coming up to me and congratulating me and telling me thanks for the stands that I took and for the stand that I made and for the standing up and for standing up with these young people. But they of themselves doesn't want to say thanks. Some of them very ungrateful. For instance, I voted in West. I'm going to tell all who I vote for. You understand me? I voted in West. I used to live in Roxborough. For who knows to me, I used to live in Roxborough, what place in the East. Yes, I used to live in the area that I voted. I used to vote. I used to live down there. And I was asked and I was begged to change my voting area from Roxborough to the area. And I did that. So in the area that I voted, I used to vote. I used to live down there. And I was asked and I was begged to change my voting area from Roxborough to the area. And I did that. Because
Right, Juliet. So that is how we did it. Watson Duke stole the election because those are former chief sec lost his seat by two votes.
That is Buku.
Yes,
Buku
lost his seat. They did a recount. He lost by 2 votes. If we had continued that video, you would have seen the lady said that where
Yeah,
she
see-
voted, it was
Yeah,
one vote.
One vote.
Watson Duke would have stolen the election by taking people for illegally putting them in constituencies, marginal constituencies, to flip the vote.
So based on her, voter pardon took place.
Voter pardon took place.
in the
And
election.
yes. And the EBC is to blame Mark Carrising. Mark Carrising and them is to blame for that. Because the woman is this a witness statement.
Carrising.
This is a witness statement. This should be thoroughly investigated. As far as I'm concerned, there should be no local government election until we get to the bottom of this.
No.
Because he aims to do the same thing here.
Right.
Okay.
No, we need to pay attention here because Google would have played it, and I think I would have mentioned it some night I did a live at home. This came out as a result of what has started
In Tobago.
as
Some dissenting
voices
coming out
already in less than 6 months.
They
They have been fooled and what have you.
Yeah.
Right. So we have to thank God that this has happened.
Yes.
And people are feeling the way that they are feeling because we get an understanding now how the election was won.
How it was
because
won.
remember, it was a whitewash, eh?
Yeah, it was a
Right. But
that
remember,
is why, Juliet, that is why, hold this up. That is why Watson Duke was so confident.
he was confident, right?
That
No,
is why.
right.
He knew what he
Now
knew
remember, we discussing campaign financing,
reform, yeah.
right? What is to say, based on what this lady said, that money was not also a part of the arrangement, but she just did not say money was part of the arrangement.
I heard that from my connections in Tobago, that persons were given cash to change their vote. Because people saying, well, me ain't changing my vote. Why you tell me about changing my vote? This is, if we don't fix this, and this, the PNM, you see, these things happen because I am of the opinion that the PNM putting wrong persons in the wrong places that's create these decisions. You know? And I say that about Mrs. Nunez Teixeira, who jumped on our bandwagon recently here too.
Yeah.
Wrong person in the wrong is the PNM
Yes.
fault.
Yes.
They continue to put persons who are against them in heart.
Yes.
And they know the ones who are against them in truth. The one who is for them in truth.
I
they're
wouldn't
not
even
giving
say
them.
I wouldn't even say against them.
In heart.
I think the PNM is just not vigilant.
They're not vigilant.
The PNM rank and file is not really vigilant.
So they're prone to making mistakes. Because if you're vigilant when you're crossing the road, you'll be hit by
You'll get hit by a speeding bus, that's correct.
It's a play that
They're
simple.
not vigilant at all.
We were trained as primary schools.
They don't
look
have the-
up, look down, look left, and look right.
In
The PNM
addition,
ain't doing that, Juliet.
in addition, they do not have the animal instinct. And in politics, you need the animal instinct.
Juliet, look, listen here. Mr. Duke is using that same THA model to come and pole vault his way into the local government election with a lot of cash gotten from who needs to see from persons who need to see the financial interdiction unit. That says all. That says where this was. Juliet, this is not nothing strange to this nation. You know, the use of finance that is questionable, and we talk about 40 million. Imagine you give a man $40 million a campaign. What were you paying for, my friend? You know, when we check, that same character got a wastewater treatment plant to build for $1.6 billion.
Interesting that you would say that. Because was it you that sent me an article today?
I sent you several articles.
Was
28 voters pardon cases dismissed.
No.
Okay, good.
Actually, it has to do with SIS and the Panama Chronicles.
Oh, no.
Did I send that to you?
I'm not too sure.
I didn't send it to you.
I'm not
I
too
would
sure
have
about-
loved to get into that. But
Alright,
I'm
let me
looking
look for
at
it.
something here, and I think I'll go and find the story. I just had a screenshot. Seeing that we're discussing campaign financing and corrupting the democratic process. Strange enough, And I only saw this. I only saw this coming here tonight. Daily Express.
Okay.
Front page. Headline story by Rhea Tate. UNC giveaways corrupting election process.
That is with
Jerlyn John
giving away fridge and stove.
Did I send this to you all? And it's a beautiful photo. I'm sorry that you all don't have it because I would have loved to post it up on the screen here. Right, when we go for the break, Jerlyn John giving out
fridge. She was giving
fridge and washing machine and
They say as she lost, a month later, court was at the door with persons coming to pulling it back. Nobody tell you what they said. Court was at the door calling back for the furniture and the thing. They say, well, but Juliet, that was said that it was repossessed. As soon as she lost, it was repossessed a month later. But anyway,
go right there,
Juliet. So we have two dangers facing us with this election: voter padding and campaign finance reform. And the very, very, very most dangerous one is, you see, campaign finance reform.
Yes.
And also of danger is voter padding, because the EBC cannot sit quiet after this woman explained what she did. At least it requires some
investigation,
some attention. We are not saying that it is a fact. We are saying that she is saying what she did.
Yeah.
And based on the fact that some of these seats were won by 1 and 2 votes, it requires an investigation by the EBC, because we know that you cannot go and vote the way she is talking about it.
Yeah.
Lends to illegality. And you cannot say to me that one man can determine where your constituency go. One vote.
All right. And you cannot tell me that she is singular in this case.
In this matter, no. Remember,
different districts would have different people.
It was very peculiar how this election went. And it was too
because
peculiar.
Remember, the results was 6-6. And you see the PNM too, it just remind me of the 33-3.
Yes, 33-3?
The 33-3 results, and what was it, the 33-3? Some of the results. But anyway, PNM have a way, unlike other parties.
Okay.
We lost.
We take the loss.
And we go.
Kamala put it before the court, on an election petition.
Several times she did it.
She did it in
most
2015
recent,
and she did it in
that is
2020.
the most recent vintage.
She did. The woman is so shameless. She did it in 2020. And even when they told her,
is it that she's shameless, or are we seeing now where maybe the PNM
there might be some validity,
and maybe the PNM need to start doing the same? Because here what is coming out of the mouth of this woman?
Yes, yeah.
The woman said she's a Spartan, and she tell you, she said, I tell her only the truth. I voted where I wasn't supposed to vote. They tell me
she was
up here.
The only thing she didn't say is
that she was paid. The woman said, they tell me, listen, we have up here luck. Forget up here. We need you to go down in another area, down in the west.
Now that she can't get what was promised, she started talk. So to my mind, the EBC should be on this like white on rice. They should be on it like a boom fly on something savory. This is something savory, because we don't want to go down this road again with Mr. Duke.
Yes.
The elections must reflect the will of the masses,
yes,
not the will of Mr. Duke. Mr. Duke has found his way to corrupt and as it were, steal every election that the PSA ever had. But there was evidence that Mr. Duke had illegally gotten himself into every election that PSA ever had. And PSA members were saying that was Duke thief the election, thief. It's the only, it's something strange. Every time.
And it is a model. Remember, you talk about the blueprint.
It's a blueprint.
The blueprint is coming right out of the playbook of PSA.
Yes. Yes.
Even when there was a 6-6,
yeah.
they only came by the 6 because of that same rule. But the strength of the PNM, would have caused a little problem there. They ended up with a 6-6. So what they did, they upped the ante this time to make sure that there was no draw. So it is clear that what is happening here is coming straight out of the playbook, the blueprint of how to win or how to steal an election through the PSA comes straight up.
When I saw this, I made some calls to the sources in Tobago. They said those 3 seats that the PNM added, that's the technique that they use on those 3 seats. The rest was just collateral for them, but they had locked the 3 seats by that same method. Right? So we have to be careful. I don't think that we can sit comfortable and allow Mr. Duke to steal another election again. Let him, as a matter of fact, he should be stealing election in maximum security right now.
Because it has dire consequences for the people of Trinidad and Tobago, particularly the African community.
Because that is where the corruption is going to take place, mainly. Because all what Mr. Duke doing, he cannot go in the predominantly UNC areas and still no election, because these people will not fight.
But we have seen Kamala's approach. We just discussed it here. We have seen Kamala's approach. He can't go by Kamala and try that.
No, because Kamala don't have C-section locked with her style. 28 voter padding cases dismissed. April 21st, 2023. Express report. The voter padding offenses pending against dozens of citizens from 11 years were discharged yesterday by the court, which ruled that the state had taken no way to prosecute these offenses.
We're going for a break. But I don't want you lose focus of that we're talking about campaign finance reform.
Yes.
And persons, well, we're talking about 2 different groups of people. We're talking about the Afros and we're talking about the Hindus, right? We're talking voter padding. And it is hardly likely that in this voter padding exercise that persons would have gone there willingly. There would, to my mind, there has to be some form of inducement.
Some inducement. And well, you see, and also, even when voter pardon is done under the UNC, you'll see a paragraph here saying is businessmen and things were involved in that. So the inducement was at a higher level.
Right. And listen to this. Listen to this. Remember, during the THA election, this time around here, Mr. Duke is on record offering a ex gratia payment. He said $10,000 if you go out and vote. Just so the words just so used.
And the PNM government factor.
Right. Okay. Right. Yeah. So where I'm going with this, because we're talking campaign financing. We're looking at the Hyatt, the launch at the Hyatt, the $1 million launch at the Hyatt to put off a red carpet, three-course meal, and we have to find some truth literacy within all of that, meaning that if you can go on a platform and offer 10,000 ex gratia payments, what it says to me is that what is to stop you from going into the communities in truth. And in
And
fact,
at the same
and
time-
distribute
yeah.
the $300 in the jerseys, the $500 in the jerseys, and the whole issue of gang leaders and giving them money to bring out people and what have you. Because Watson Duke has already
posit that he's prepared to pay for evil.
Thank you. Thank you.
Prepared in
Yes,
essence.
yes, a bad girl.
He's prepared to buy his votes.
Tell me I
with
getting
level cash.
tell me I getting my doctorate based on that analysis I don't put on the
Juliet, he's prepared to pay cash for his vote. And the EBC cannot sit idly by based upon what this woman just said. Because remember,
we in trouble here, you know. We in
in
real trouble, you know.
He's using a whole suite of mechanisms to win this election. It's cash by so, voter pad by so, and the best one out of them is a loaf of bread by so, and it's every technique available to man, and the PNM cannot sit down. I call for a serious investigation into what that woman has said, because it is very plausible and possible, because that election was won by 1 and 2 votes.
Right, and I hear you with the EBC doing their part and the government doing their part and the PNM doing their part. But you know what I wanted to know, Mr. Arouca? Can we file under the Freedom of Information and find out who funded the Hyatt,
of course we can.
The Hyatt event?
As a matter of fact, Mr. Watson Duke would have to declare that as part of his campaign, and he would have to declare, you know, this is a document that the EBC must get from him, you know. If he's so minded, he would have to falsify those documents, which is an offense. Now, I can't say what would happen or how it would happen, but under the Freedom of Information, because I don't think he would be filing it now. It is not a document that will be filed today or next week, because it will be part of a series of documents that has to be filed when an election is being conducted. But what we do know is that every candidate have a limit, a maximum that they can spend on their campaign, and it's a whole gauntlet of expensive. They have expensive for vehicles, expensive. There are a lot of loopholes, you know. We need reform. We need campaign finance reform, because the document was done since 1965. That document is a document from 1965. You can imagine that. In 2022, the document is a pretty old document. So we need reform. Yeah.
Okay, folks, we're going for a break. Do not go anywhere.
Yeah.
We'll be right back. We love you all, and we know you love us as well. So stick a pen. Don't go anywhere.
Views expressed by the presenters are not the views of the NCPN network.
Trinidad and Tobago, this is the National Patriot Wendell Eversley, hitting you all with the facts. I connect the future with the past, elevating step by step, sweet tea and tea. PNM is the problem. We know UNC is not the solution. Soon, I will be live on NCBN. Trinidad and Tobago, I love you.
Hi, I am Maurice Alexander, host of the new series, Know Your Representative. A series dedicated to you, the viewer, knowing your representative and what they do for you. Join me on Wednesday, the 6th of April at 6 p.m. right here live on NCBN. Stay tuned.
Hi, this is Michael Johnson, Councillor for Marabella West, and this is Local Government and You. Here we will be discussing local government law and practice. How does it affect you on the ground in the community? So stay tuned to NCBN, coming soon.
Current affairs.
Oh, what? Coming soon,
That's it.
Coming soon,
That's it.
Welcome one and all. I am Juliet, alongside my sidekick, Mr. Arouca.
Your partner in crime, Juliet.
And we are going to be live on NCBN on a social media platform near you. IG, Facebook, YouTube. We are going to be
Sensational,
tantalizing,
thought-provoking,
dramatic,
educational,
real,
sometimes spiritual,
suspense,
political analysis.
drama.
Take no prisoners, Juliet. Don't forget that part. Coming soon.
20,000 can rise against we like zombies on Juve morning. They can't stop the
Views expressed by the announcers, presenters, are not the views of NCBN.
Welcome back, Juliet.
Welcome back.
Juliet, we were talking about campaign finance reform and how it affects the outcome of an election. As a matter of fact, it is designed to affect the outcome of the election by design. So what the government have to do is, in essence, try to avert that danger of illegal finance, persons who have questions to answer to the FIU, to Kate McMahon, persons who are the subject of serious criminal investigation, persons who recently, two senior police officers were arrested
Yes,
for selling firearm,
yeah,
firearm permits.
Yeah.
And you know who got,
Allegedly.
who alleged, yeah. Professional Standard Bureau arrested them, but you know who formed part of the case? The FIU. That means the Financial Interdiction Unit intercepted their cash and found serious, and these monies that end up in campaigns. Because if you put them into campaigns, you may get a particular party in power, and they may hire Gary Griffin right back in, and there you go again. I'm talking about Juliet. No, Juliet, I think we got plenty disclaimer here. You know. Talking about Gary, I wonder if Gary knows when he done launch a campaign, and also just on a side note, I hear Karen yes, joining the Gary Griffin band as a deputy political leader. So I know, Karen, I wish that you could just say that and stop.
Say that and
just go on, hurry up now.
All this that beating around the bush and
talking this amount of, like if we never did this amount of stupidness, Karen. You want to join Gary? Go ahead and join Gary. Right?
By the way, let us run that Karen clip just for two minutes. Let's run that Karen clip for 2 minutes. Can we deal with Karen once and for all?
Karen once and for all.
Yeah.
I was in there, and I was in there at a very position as a Minister of Finance. And I had a very good relationship with the Prime Minister. One, because I guess my position being new, and he previously had about 4 ministers in the Ministry of Finance, and he just had myself and Mariano. And I think he believed that I did support his vision, strategic vision for Trinidad and Tobago. There's no question in my mind, and I probably, what the gentleman just said is about right. That thing about the red tape, I didn't put that up, When I looked at the corruption perception index for the public sector, they gave these 6 factors that drive corruption in the corruption perception. And one of them was red tape. And that just clicked to me. And yes, you're right, because where are all these unlicensed guns coming from? Why is there such a heavy crime? Let us not pretend that we don't understand. Yes, there's some domestic crime, but even among the domestic crime, many people are on drugs. You have to understand that a lot of the laws, and maybe I have this understanding because some of them were around when I was a minister, the Revenue Authority, they have diluted it completely. And we don't have time to go into it. The gambling legislation, we should not have gambling in this country. We have too much money laundering. EU has blacklisted us. You saw they had a meeting in Barbados with Mia and the Prime Minister about de-risking and the bank, the correspondent bank. De-risking meaning taking you off completely. You see the Prime Minister has run off to Washington for 4 days to discuss that topic. This country is a corrupt country. And if people want to pretend that they do not understand that at the root of this corruption in this country is the transshipment of cocaine that is able to give people power to open up businesses, for the businesses to fail, for the businesses to reopen, to have the politicians jump in at their call. The Procurement Act is a perfect example of the level of corruption in this country.
Now, this woman just going on and on and on and I'm really like trying to figure out what is she trying to say.
Everything Karen said have been said for decades. We are transshipment point for drugs.
It is even written in books.
Cut drug report, you name it, all of them say that we are drug shipment.
Diosaran has written extensively. Darius Figaro, a criminologist and a lecturer at the University of the West Indies, has written extensively about this.
If we had gone a little further, Juliet, we would have seen what Karen really wanted to say.
What Karen wants to say, or what Karen is doing, is continuing her onslaught against Dr. Rowley and the PNM because she's still toting for Manning.
The woman standing up on her dead man back. Now, the politicians is really the greatest, Mr. Manning dead already. Nothing Karen says there can be rebutted or challenged by the man who she said. She said, Manning, tell me. And Manning, tell us who Mr. Manning told you that the drug lords and the men who bring in all the drugs.
Because as far as I'm concerned, all she tried to do is to put out information out there to have people guessing. Nobody wants to guess. We have been guessing for the last 30 years, last 40 years, who the drug lords and who the gun runners are. We have been guessing. So you coming out to tell us this is nothing new.
I think it's Mr. Big principle.
That is what Mr. Manning said. He knows Mr. Big.
Well, he probably told Karen, Juliet, they're doubting that. But Karen is not telling us, and Mr. Manning cannot tell.
But if she's not telling us, we don't want to hear her. We don't need to hear. Because what she's telling us and nothing come like the same. Because even the dumbest person have been saying that it cannot be poor people bringing in the drugs and the guns in the country.
Yes.
So I don't know what Karen came to say. But you see, Mr. Arouca and viewers, this is all about Karen. You want to come back into politics? Come back into politics. You want to be with Gary on his political escapade? Come out and say plain you want to be with Gary on this escapade. And stop beating around the bush. Stop using the PNM as a springboard for your political career.
You know what was instructive in her? When you listen with a discerning eye, Karen said in somewhere in that interview that they did not call her and they wouldn't call me. Total feeling when I tell you. She was saying that the PNM didn't call her and they wouldn't call her. No,
but
Karen,
how you expect PNM to call you?
There was no need for you to say that.
But how she expect the PNM to call her with that insider trading
hanging over her head when she was Minister of Finance.
When she was Minister of Finance.
That caused the PNM a lot of anguish at the polls.
But let me ask you something, by the way.
Yeah.
Insider trading, and I'm not saying that is what she did, right? But the whole conversation of conflict of interest and insider trading came up.
It's the same thing.
Right. Yeah. Let me ask you something, because like when for James, who didn't understand the meaning of nepotism, despite he has a degree in English or whatever he has his degree in, Karen Nunes Teixeira doesn't understand what insider trading mean. Does it suggest corruption, insider trading?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
So then, what precisely Karen is coming to tell us about corruption? To my mind, Mrs. Nunes Teixeira
is a supporter and was a staunch supporter of Mr. Manning. And that's basically what she's saying here. If coming down to the end of the video, she would see that it's just a big campaign speech. She was really campaigning there, because the same thing she was saying is the same thing we have heard on every opposition platform from since time immemorial. She was talking about AV drilling. That matter have been settled in a court.
Yes.
Why is Karen talking about that when a judicial officer sat on that matter, presided over that matter? The government decided that they are not going to spend no more money. There are so much. Well, I thought we were going down to the end, because we would have been able to just pull out some of these false statements made by Karen Teixeira. If me and you have a matter, and while we are going through the process, the judicial process of sending, you giving me, the term just slips me now, but disclosure. Disclosure is a part of the judicial process. Disclosure leading up to settlement. They went to an arbitrator. The arbitrator sat down everybody. When you're disclosing, everybody have to bring all the evidence that you have. When I see your evidence, you show you yours, you show me mine, you show me yours, I show you mine. When we sit down and our lawyers get together, all the experts that we muster, this man and the Queen's Council, they realize, look, listen, going to court, we are not going to get better here, because look, the man, this man was owed, AV drilling was owed somewhere in the vicinity of about $100 million for work that he claimed that he did. And the government had no way of dispelling that he did it. Now, we could say from here until high heavens that it was corruption, it was collusion with him and somebody. But if you cannot dispel that, you cannot go to court with it. And you ought not to go to court with it. The government say, let me stop spending money here. Pay the money what we owe him, and let me done with that. What Karen don't know about that? Right. Karen is an attorney. She knows that is how it's works.
Right.
Right.
So let's go to some press, some news.
Yes.
With respect to Karen Nunes Teixeira.
Okay.
Because when these people come to you,
you must know who they are. You must know
you must know who they are.
Yes.
Karen,
tell us who she
if you want to come back into the political limelight, feel free to do so. You're a big woman and it's your right to do so.
Don't start off
but don't climb on the PNM back and try to ride the PNM back and ride man who is dead according to a dead man back to come to play this big activist, political activist. No. This is Online Barbados Free Press. Headline: did former anti-finance minister break her oath over Clico insider trading? Question: CL Financial bailout, swearing an oath. And it's a story by Afro Raymond. The former Trinidad and Tobago Minister of Finance, Karen Nunes Teixeira, is once again in the news due to her dispute with the Integrity Commission, as well as her expected testimony at the next session of the Coleman Commission. The former minister has had to defend against allegations of insider trading relating to her early withdrawals from Clico Investment Bank. There was a lengthy address to the Parliament on Wednesday, 4th February 2009. The March 2009 revelation in the Guardian newspaper that Nunes Teixeira was a CL Financial shareholder was also the cause to further defensive statements to Parliament on 27th March 2009. In the first wave of defense, there was silence as to the fact of Nunes Teixeira's shareholdings in CLF. In November, her attorney attempted to challenge my position on this at the Coleman Commission, but I maintain that if the genuine attempt was to address the perception of corruption in a forthright fashion, all the information should have been given. Interesting here, the question that I asked you just now, is insider trading considered a form of corruption, right? And it is clear based on what was said here by Afro Raymond. It is corruption. And folks, let me just remind you.
The numbers. No,
not just the numbers, but to put on record that we are not casting any aspersions on Mrs. Nunes Teixeira. But insofar as Karen Nunes Teixeira is so fast to run out herself, to come to piggyback on the People's National Movement, and to come to ride a dead man to try to continue her onslaught against Dr. Rowley and the PNM, we will call Karen out.
We will.
We will call her out. The numbers to call.
Numbers to call, 309-8924. So you can call at any time. We ready for calls, Juliet? We open for call. So at any time, you can call at any time.
Good evening and welcome.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Ms. Juliet and Mr. Arouca.
Good evening.
Your program.
Thank you.
Let me tell you something. What do you expect? Anything to come out positive from Karen Nunes Teixeira? Have you forgotten last year she went on a podium? I think there was some kind of virtual meeting, and I think she attended a UNC meeting, you know.
Seriously? No, I don't recall. Okay, somebody is shaking their head and saying yes. Okay.
Yeah. So
well, maybe we should find that clip and bring it back up.
Well, she was in PNM. She left PNM long time.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
And you know what makes it so sad? You know who defeated her? Mr. Room 201.
Oh.
Yes. You forgot? You forgot how much lickings?
Okay.
Forget how much licking Karen Nunes Teixeira had gotten from that gentleman?
That's news to me.
And she lost her seat. And she lost her seat to that man. All I can remember that.
Oh yes.
She lost her seat.
Yes,
that
she
man
did.
Washed him out.
She lost W. Merita. Yes.
Okay.
So, I don't really expect anything. And let me tell you something, You see that thing with Mr. Watson, you? Or you have to look at that man with a cutter, you know. A lot of heavy science he put it on there.
A lot of science is put it on here. Yeah.
Juliet, what is it? Watson Duke is a Obia man?
I don't know if he's a Obia man, but
okay, good.
A lot of heavy science put it on, and a lot of people gravitating towards him. I mean, this man is on trial for rape. And what makes us so sad is up to now, where the court system, where the judges, and how come this case in court 6 years has passed? The justice in the system moving very slow.
It's not that long, it's not that long, caller.
But this man have a price or something like that, because people see this man, I don't know about all, you know, but you know, sometimes you have an aura in the atmosphere. There's a bad aura here. The same thing that took place in 2010. And there's an aura. This gentleman have an aura.
Juliet,
and it's not positive at all.
Caller, let me engage you on that. You're saying the same aura that it had in 2010. You're seeing that aura presenting itself now? That's what you say? God?
Yeah.
Juliet, I think that's what the caller is saying. That aura that was around in 2010 is also around today.
Okay.
Right now.
Okay.
And if that is the case, I am concerned, but I know for a fact that we are in for some very troubling times coming here, and we can't watch it, stare it down the face. Mr. Duke is going to change, if we allow him to, he's going to change the politics in this country for the worse.
The number is called 309-8924. We're taking your calls. We are talking campaign finance reform, and as well, we are discussing the whole issue of corruption in the country.
Yes, Juliet. I was saying to you that if we don't treat with this from this state on, we are not going to be able to pull back much, because from what we know,
we'll have little room to maneuver.
Yeah, we'll have very little room. From what we are seeing is the only qualification you need to be an opposition in this country is have your name called for insider trading, sell guns, left, right, and center, then you could posit yourself.
Rub people in a susu.
Rub people in a susu. And call
and
yourself
then walk around like a bit with a political leader.
Get a political leader. Then you can go on social media after your boys and them are caught selling guns. You can go on social media and launch your party, and you cannot show your face nowhere on Terra Firma in Trinidad and Tobago, lest you be the subject of the same ammunition and guns. And then Mr. Griffith is not in Juliet. Do you know for a fact if Mr. Griffith is on Terra Firma? On Terra Firma? Do you know?
I don't. No, I don't.
I have been asking everybody who might know, because I know a couple of guys and nobody can seem to be able to tell me. But what I also know is that Barry Padarat won a seat while he was in some way seeing about the child.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
Well, during so it is very possible that Mr. Griffith can launch his party and possibly win something out of it without being here. This is the kind of country that we have. Barry Padarat was not here in the last election. Somebody filed his nomination papers, and he was on social media talking spit and won his seat. So, and Mr. Griffith, to my mind, is not here. He made so much enemies while he was commissioner of police that it is dangerous for him to be here on Terra Firma. And he launched his party. It was launched virtually. I think he's asking everybody to do things virtually.
Yes.
And Trinidad is such a strange place that Mr. Griffith stands a chance of getting our attention while not being in our face personally. And people want us to accept that for a prime minister who is always talking to you, always trying to tell you why you should not be listening.
And Mr. Arouca, you have to again look at where that is coming from. And if you go through our political history, everything points right back to the UNC and all its previous incarnation and the players who, whether it is on the UNC side, Griffith side,
opposition,
Watson Duke side, opposition forces, the players are all the same. And we have to blame the UNC for this. The UNC, and even through Kamala Persad-Bissessar, it has gotten worse. It has gotten worse. They are introducing a brand of politics in this country.
Just it past introducing, you know. I think you see Mr. Duke, he is going to turn this whole thing upside down.
Duke, Gary. Duke and
Gary. They're going to.
Deadly.
Because it's happening. People are getting arrested. Things are happening. So, I want to say good evening and congratulations to Mr. Jacob. You are doing a fine job, sir. Don't listen to
Jacob dropped the ball. He dropped the ball though in the Diego Martin Rich Plain shooting incident there, but
I think that is enthusiasm. He believed. Now remember, as a police commissioner, you have to believe your officers. They were so convincing. And not only that, if you're an officer dead, you must feel it in here as a police officer.
But as a commissioner, he should always, because the position he holds is one in which he is the go-to man. Anything happens with the police service, they're going to go to him. So he have to learn from now that he has to practice no comment until further notice.
And he's also an attorney, and he ought to have known that just give this about a week again before I open my mouth and we go see the thing change. And it did change.
Jacob must know. Jacob must know.
He's an
Arouca,
experience,
between you and I and viewers.
Jacob
must know that he cannot put his head on a block for the police. So therefore, to come to make that kind of statement immediately after the incident took place without doing any investigation. I mean, come on. But otherwise than that, Jacob seemed to be someone that we can work with as a commissioner of police.
Why are we even taking just a sideline? Why are we even considering that every time someone offers themselves to challenge the PNM, they have questions to answer? But
I just give you the scenario. It's all they all have a link.
Have questions to answer, Juliet. Every one of them, you know. And the only question they have for Dr. Rowley is the ones that they created.
Yes.
Everybody else asking them questions. The questions that
including the AV oil, what they created.
Kamala created AV drilling oil. And he's a dictator. What is that about? And we talk about genuine questions. Everybody who wasn't you? Too much questions to answer. Gary Griffith, Nunes Tishema, oh please. And the point is really
Philip Alexander.
And the point is really, Juliet, what are you supporting?
You take the words out my mouth.
What are you supporting as a country? Because can we not have an opposition, a person who is putting himself up to be a leader in opposition without a question to answer? Since when that is too hard to ask? Since when is that too hard to ask? Headline, an article, it looks like it's the Express. Did Nunes Tishera mislead the parliament? The headline, you know, the problem with Finance Minister Nunes Tishera is not that she has shares in the CL Financial Investment Company. Everyone, as she said, is entitled to invest their money in anything that they please. The problem, and the big problem, is that she withdrew her money as finance minister when the company was going to be wrapped up.
Right.
And so Miss Nunes Tishera would forever have this question to answer, because she would have been the one who came to Parliament knowing full well that there was a problem in CL Financial before Parliament knew.
She was the finance minister.
Before Parliament knew, she would have known. The only person who alerted us to the CL Financial challenge was Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj, who told us that Mr. Pandey was in corruption with our insurance company. When Mr. Manning took over, Karen Nunes Tishera, being finance minister, would have come in to the real problem. That cost us $20 billion.
You see, Karen is one of those persons who the opposition forces has gone to to come up with a team, to contest the PNM, right? And so known as she is being put forward by this group that they call
that's an opposition group? That's something new?
Well, not really a group. It's an online media source, WZYE 95.9 FM station. That's an online radio, and I think it's run by Anselm Lightburn, also known as Mr. Wall Street.
Oh,
so Wall Street,
connection.
Right? So Wall Street is on a drive to recruit persons, because I don't know if you are aware, but he too has taken up a fight against Prime Minister Dr. Rowley and the People's National Movement. So anybody who is opposed to Nafiza Mohammed, Karen Nunes, Tishera, Gary Griffith, Philip Alexander. Those are the persons that he are entertaining on this 95.5 WZYE.
All right, I now understand.
And let me tell you something.
It is his
and
platform.
And while I will not go, yes, that's his platform.
Right.
While I will not go deep into the meat of what I'm about to say, but Wall Street is one of several Africans in this country who are behind the destruction of Rowley and the People's National Movement. And you would be surprised to know some of the names. If you whistle, I will call some of the names for you. You would be surprised to know some of the names that are behind the destruction of the people's. Too much of whistling. Only once you have to whistle. So what we are seeing here, let me tell you something. This is the ganging up of the PNM, you know, from all quarters, you know, left, right, and center, you know, east, west, north, and south. Kamala Basabi says on the UNC. Anyhow, they are coming and they are coming and they are coming because they mean that the government must fall before the 5 years.
Right.
If the government does not fall before the 5 years, they mean that they must win control of government in 2025. So this thing with Nunes Tishera and this stale news. Play the clip of Darius Figaro and Fazir Mohammed for me.
Juliet.
I suppose we're asking the question as well via Twitter as to what people are making of all these developments since the breaking of this story. What is your reaction as we see more and more information coming out, more and more officials making statements that add something to it or maybe even confuse the picture a little bit? What is your perspective?
Well, it all depends where the information is coming from. It is normal American federal authority operating procedure that when they enter into a territory external of the United States territory, it's on a need-to-know basis.
Yeah.
They keep their evidence to themselves. So, for example, when they intervened into Jamaica to get Doddas out, it was on a need-to-know basis. So it all depends on the source of the information that is being fed to the local media.
And so when you say need to know, in other words, the DEA will not give the local security authorities information that they feel they don't have to give.
Precisely. And then what Trinidad and Tobago has to understand, this issue is more than the DEA. This issue involves...
I just wanted you all to see this guy. This clip is 8 years ago.
Right.
This is Darius Figaro.
Darius Figaro.
He's a criminologist and a lecturer. Right. I don't know if he's still at the University of the West Indies.
I'm not too sure.
But that is the last I knew.
He's one of the best. Yeah.
And he's one of the experts in narco trafficking in up the region, in the region, North America and South America and what have you.
Yeah.
And he have been talking extensively about the drug trade and who is involved right here in Trinidad and what have you. So that when Karen come with this thing about Manning tell she and Manning tell her and whatnot. Karen already come to tell people. Karen come to Pong, Rowley and the government.
That's what it was. That's what it is.
As part of her
it's a
as part of a renewed political
interest in the politics. And Nothing is wrong. Nothing is wrong.
And nothing is wrong with that.
Nothing is wrong.
But don't try to fool the people.
Yeah, it's just that we wanted to declare your hand.
Don't fool the people, Karen, because anytime we catch you fooling the people, we will call you out.
You're going to be exposed.
We're going to call you out.
So Juliet, we see, so you're saying that they want the government to fall before time. So that desperation we see is because the government need to fall before.
And why does the government need to fall? And that is what Karen Nunes
needs
to be interested in.
And for the same reason the government need to fall before time, it was the same reason the Manning government was needed to fall before 2010.
That's correct.
That's the same reason.
Right.
They had the airport scandal screaming down their back. More to come. They needed to get in.
Tell us, Sana, tell us.
They needed to get in so they could fraud. And it is not the only country. We have been staying danger for a very long time.
Yes.
When a government get in, they can go into the judiciary.
Yeah.
Take out investigations. Take out documents. Take out whatever it takes.
Corrupt judges.
Take out whatever it takes and toss it into the bin.
In the waste basket.
In the waste paper basket. They did it in 2010 when they got in. In 1 year when Kamala got in a year and a half, we had Section 34 before us. And Attorney General, Central Authority, when they called on him to sign the warrants to extradition warrants of
the AG said, no. Here what's happening. We will try the case right here. You leave it up to us. We'll try it right here.
It ain't making sense. You know why? Because we are not telling lies. It is clear. This ain't happened a long time ago.
It's what Trinidad and Tobago supporting
recently, Juliet. Kamala and them run Mr. Manning out of office with pressure because they had Asian Steve cases and everything else coming down the pipeline. When they got in, they started work. So
Karen Nunes Teixeira.
They're propping up crime and criminality. They're propping up.
Right. Thank you. So because
if McMahon is here.
Right. So if Karen Nunes Teixeira is concerned about corruption the way she described here, then why is Karen Nunes Teixeira giving the persons who we know the reason they want the government out?
Oh, yes.
Why is she giving them? Why is she giving them currency in our politics?
Yeah.
Why is she giving them currency in our politics? These people suppose.
Listen, Juliet. It is in everybody's interest that every government make their term. Karen Nunes Teixeira and all the opposition they're pretending that they don't understand
but
why.
They very well understand. She's an attorney.
They know exactly, because while they pretended that they're not too sure, police officers being arrested for selling firearms. Kate McMahon is here. The noose is tightening every second. The noose is tightening every second. And they know what is going to happen. What is going to come. And they know 3 years is much too long.
Stick up in. The numbers to call 309-8924. 309-8924. Go ahead, Mr.
Yeah. They know in 3 years' time it would be more or less all over. And it is the same reason. People must understand the only government that can secure your purse as best as humanly possible is the PNF. They have proven themselves. The first opportunity you gave to the UNC
and that is why
they went away with the airport scandal.
And that is why we have to discuss campaign finance reform,
among other
and even more so now because the billions of dollars that the UNC carted away from our treasury, it is the money that is now coming into the communities through the PDP.
Yes.
And that money is to help them to secure an opportunity to get back into government so that they can
fix this.
They can fix that and then continue to steal. Because remember, it is on record.
It's so clear.
Remember, it is on record.
Yes.
Munilal stated the candle costing more than the funeral.
Yeah.
Right?
Imagine that.
You go spend 15 million to go after 1 billion.
To go after.
So
that means
the message is thief plenty.
Thief plenty. And
thief plenty because it ain't gonna make no sense to go and try to find who steal the plenty because the candle go cost more than the funeral. Imagine that.
So one the point is, if you're stealing, you must steal so much that you must extradite yourself from us pursuing you because the kind of money he thief.
But I don't know who you're talking about.
Whoever it is.
All right.
The kind of money
I just wanted to clear that.
No. He in the third person.
Right.
I ain't talking about the kind of money whoever thief.
Right.
It is so much. We are going to need a certain amount of money to go behind, so better we leave it. Imagine that.
Yeah.
And this is, and so they're pointing you in a direction as to leave it just so.
Wow.
Let us go away with it.
Wow.
Let our names end up on billionaire list. Don't worry about it. While people and they're quick to tell you that the government have not provided for you. The government didn't give you this and didn't give you that, and they're quick to tell you that. But forgetting to tell you that the amount of money that it's alleged that we would have moved out with could have done just what the government can't do for you now. If the government say, look, listen, we just spending a little less on the subsidy for fuel, just a little less. It's not that we're raising the price, we just spend $20 on subsidy, we're going to take off $2 on that subsidy, so you want to pay that. They're cussing whole day, they're sending out an OT one from the Papayan dealers. I don't know why you wouldn't fix him out. This country is a bad country, The man had no teeth anymore. On my TV, annoying me with he go shut down the country. How much are all you go shut down the country?
And you pay more attention to the man's mouth than what was coming out from his mouth.
Well, I fed up every Monday morning and the radio and TV stations giving persons who are opposed to the government all the news. They have their news time. Every opportunity they get, they're depositing persons who are opposed to the government. They will not go to the government. They will not play kip.
And they don't even realize that is the very headline that they are enjoying. 4 murder in 24 hours is coming directly out of that. Directly out of that kind of behavior.
So stop annoying us. Stop annoying us with these clowns and jab and jambalasi. Right? Because a scrapyard dealer president, he going and shut down. Roger, he can't say shut down again.
But you can imagine
he can't say shut down again because nobody takes him serious.
But you can imagine Ansel Roger is on record telling the people of this country that he would love to see nothing more than Kamla Prasad Bisesa be taken away in silver bracelet in a maximum security. Can you imagine that? And today, Ansel Roger is assisting, like Karen Nunes Teixeira, assisting Kamla and the UNC to get back into government. Can you imagine that? But you wanted to see her carted away. So what you wanted her to go in silver bracelet for?
What she was going in silver bracelet for?
But that is what the question I know.
Because if
because the statement is understood.
You notice he said all kind of thing about Dr. Early, but he would never say that he would want to see Dr. Early carted away in silver bracelets because it makes no sense. There's no evidence of that. He's a dictator. He's a stupid man. What would Kamala be good? It's because of serious illegality. And when we all know it, and we must understand as big people, we do not support certain things, so we would not get those kinds of things. It is.
Go ahead,
It is clear that from between 20 From 1995 to 2001, we were raided. The matter is still before the court.
We were raided.
We were raided. All right. They force panning out and they get in. When they get in, they fix that and raid me again. Listen. If this was a sexual assault, Juliet, if this was a sexual assault, Juliet, if this was a sexual assault, we would be thinking about the damage. Because you let them in. You're so serious. You're so serious. Tell me if you would know that they can't do that again. You're attempting for them to come and rape you again. It's rape or raid, I say. I don't want to make mistakes. It's rape or raid. Again, no, Juliet, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. What we are watching here is the potential for this kind of things to happen. If we make the mistake with them again, it's billions of dollars.
Arouca.
No, but I mean, Juliet. No, Juliet, it's not this. No, Juliet. On the ground. No, on the ground, Juliet.
I have to laugh, you know, Arouca.
No, but it's serious. This is not.
I have to laugh.
Because
we can't be a serious society.
You are male or female. That happened. You let them in. Wood. All right. They come back. They cry. You take talk. Wood again.
Let me get a coronation now.
You tell me, you're coming a third time? Forget it. They could come by Watson Duke. The danger here is Watson Duke. Watson Duke is will change the country. You see the kind of things Watson Duke is prepared to do. And you see, let me tell you why it's dangerous. The UNC support is not the problem.
It's not the problem.
The problem is the
black
PNM support.
And black
support. And Watson Duke, blackface, he has a key automatically because he look like me.
And that brings me to the article.
What he would mash up is the African community in that, and therein lies the danger. We already have challenges.
And while you are saying that the Indo community is not the community to be concerned about,
no, they are not.
The Indo community will help pump money into his campaign because it will carry out the racist agenda of some.
Yes.
The racist agenda of
not
some.
Only,
like what we have already seen happened with the common entrance. Always have to come back with that.
Yes.
The first place with the little black boy. Right? Always have to come back to that.
So
they will give him money to make sure he destroys. Let me tell you something. This is not something that is being planned now. This is being planned since under Eric Williams.
Let me tell you, Juliet, we are talking about plans that is over nearly 60 years old, from 1956 to now. I'm saying to you that the reason the African community is already fragile and fragmented, and and if we allow Watson Duke to get away with our alofa bread policy, $10,000 just so, whatever else, and on that point, did Watson Duke go to the Tobago support base and consult with them to bring Suzette Louis as the deputy?
And I'm happy that they bring up that name as well.
Because he's talking about everything is a consultation. Listen to me. If consultation was food, all that we would have been overweight, obese by now. You would not be so slim and nice. And I would not be so handsome if consultation was food. Consultation, everything is consultation. Watson Duke forget to consult when he brought in Suzette Louis. Let the Tobagonians and them ponder on that. Let them ponder on, well, I know it's already buyer's remorse with them. The only ones who are not expressing buyer's remorse is the ones who didn't buy.
Right.
But you see the ones who bought expressing buyer's remorse right now. Like Sister Ava, what she did, and the buyer's remorse, they took the bait from what's new, and now all of them crying. You know, it's how people ain't crying. I thought people say, "I tell them."
They shame to cry. Some people shame to cry.
So it's not but some expressing buyer's remorse and some simply ashamed.
Right.
So,
but last evening,
you're telling me
we would have pointed out
something.
Yes, we would have pointed out that there's a reason why Suzette Lowy or Louis or however
whatever she is.
Why she was placed there. She was placed there for the very same reason Anil Roberts was placed in the parliament.
He said it.
Right.
Yeah.
And that is, they are known antagonists of
David
Afro,
Nakin.
of Afro people and Afro PNM people in particular. So they put her there for that purpose. So we have to understand it is all part of that racism.
Yes.
That we were just discussing.
She's
that while we have seen that what's in the PDP is not concerned about Kamala and the UNC territory.
Amazing.
And that we know that the UNC will finance them to destabilize the Afro communities.
You know, it's in passing, it's in conversation passing, you just mention the UNC.
There's mention the UNC just to make it look like
that. Just to tell you that all of them is the same thing.
Yeah, all of them is the same thing. And
but election,
nothing else.
But as I hear the last election vote is counted, all of them hugging up one another to see who get what. To see if we can form an alliance like 2010. They could say what they want. What's new? Well, what's new is the only one who say he will talk to everybody when the election is finished. But everybody else pretending that they will not talk to anybody.
Yeah.
No time at all.
Yeah.
But we know better than that. We know the only party that can stand up on its own legs without alliances with none of these clowns and them is the PNM. They always have to gang up, and the problem with that ganging up comes the infighting and the horse trading, because from the minute they say they profess that we have won an election, the horse trading starting. Who ain't getting state board? Who getting to go India as an ambassador? And all the drama starts with that, and for the next 5 years we have to deal with that fight, because the UNC have always proven that what we say goes, and everybody else go just at a rock so with the rest. With the rest.
Take five and wine to the side.
Take five and wine to the side.
Yeah.
And just what happened between 2010 to 2015, we expect threefolds of that. If this country is unstable by COVID and very little money, well, giving power to this section that come in here would send us to the cleaners, because we don't have the money for them to parade themselves up and down Trinidad and India and wherever they want to go. We don't have the money. COVID is also upon us. We need strong, powerful leadership to keep us safe and not die from a virus. It is not a good time for us to be having an opposition like the one we see in here. We need a stable, proven government that can guide us. Look, next 10 years, or they could come back.
We don't need narcissists.
We don't need
people who seem to be unstable.
We don't need.
What we doing with those kind of people in our
and not only that, Juliet, let us say we take God out of our thoughts and elect them, we have to turn a blind eye to their record. We got to turn a blind eye to what's new rape record, accused rape record, Karen insider trading record. And we have to turn a blind. So you know the damage that does do to our nation. So when we try and come home, and say and with something, and this is what we have to turn a blind eye to that. We must, if we don't get serious, there will be no time to get serious, because you know why? The homes are already at the door.
Already at the door.
The homes are already. This is not a playtime for us. We don't have the latitude to give, according to some people, give them a chance now, like if they're lotto or bingo.
You can imagine
give them a chance.
A country, you know.
What does that mean?
Time to give somebody else a chance.
Wait. What does that mean, really?
But I was trying to figure out that the other day.
Give them a chance to run a country. It is not bingo. It is not
In a play way.
This is serious governance. Dr. Rowley and the PNM have proven themselves to be under all the attacks. To be an exemplar. Dr. Rowley, to my mind, is the best leader in this country ever.
But as far as I'm concerned, there's no